Welcome to Farming 263. My name is Natasha Chinoro and today we're in Ngezi, Mhondoro. We have visited an interesting farmer. Come, let's meet him. Hi.
Hello.
I'm fine. My name is Natasha. Could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay. It's nice to meet you, Natasha.
Nice to meet you too.
My name is Emmanuel Tshimanga. I'm a farmer in Mhondoro Ngezi.
Oh, Mr. Emmanuel, could you kindly tell us more about yourself? Okay. Who is Emmanuel?
All right. So, essentially, I've studied most of my life in Zimbabwe and South Africa. I did most of my undergrad in South Africa, my honors and masters in economics. So I was also working in South Africa. Then I came back to Zimbabwe and I started farming.
No, that's nice. That's nice. So how is our farmer handling this whole situation? Murukuri must say, Mr. Emmanuel.
I think no. Well, actually, yeah, I dislocated my ankle and tore some ligaments, but I'm handling it because as a farmer, I'm balancing resting, which my doctor has told me to do many times, and checking up on people in the field. I don't think it's a limitation because at least Panama vehicles
Oh, no, that's nice. That's nice. Skakunoku, what are you into? Okay. What do you do?
Okay. All right. So here in this farm, we're embarking on fish farming. So as you can see, this reservoir was built for two purposes, and that's to supply water to this field. There's a field here and a field there, and it was also made for fish farming, so it's dual purpose. We also have another fish farming pond down there at the back of the farm. We'll go there, yeah. Also, Tirukurima. I'm sure you can see the land preparation has begun. Tinori bage and soya beans in these sections.
No, that's nice. Yes. That's very, very nice.
And then lastly, we've got a horticulture section.
Okay.
So we'll go down there. There's an open field section and a greenhouse section.
Oh.
Yes.
No, that's brilliant. That's so nice. So why farming? Semunaita economics and
I feel like economics and farming are tied together.
Yeah, they are.
Yes. Essentially, you can't divorce the two. Farming is the lifeblood of every nation. Okay. Everyone needs to eat, and when prices of food goes up or down, it affects the entire economy. Therefore, this is one of the primary industries. Yeah. So you can't get over, or you can't fail when it comes to farming, because everyone needs food all the time. You can add different things to value addition, but essentially everyone needs to eat. Everyone needs chibage, whether it's chekugocha, whether it's for mealie meal. Everyone needs tomatoes, everyone needs peppers, onions, carrots. So I figured that it was actually the best way to create a sustainable life rather than just working. So it has always been your passion? Actually, no. No, actually, I actually had no interest in farming. Daitochka, actually, when people would talk about farming, I didn't really want to see a garden or anything close to it. But surprisingly, I started a project with my friend. It's called Mr. Ndamba, where we were farming mushrooms. And surprisingly, Mount Pleasant, actually. Mount Pleasant. Marara, yeah. Okay. Surprisingly, we did a lot of work, physical labor, we had people, and I actually found that I actually enjoy it. People don't joke when they say don't knock it before you try it. Okay. Yeah. I think that's what sparked my passion.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So could you tell me more about fish farming?
Okay.
Why fish farming? Ndikuona kuti maka integrate zvinhu panapa. There's fish farming apa muda kuisa chibage, and then there's also a section community horticulture. Why did you choose to integrate?
Okay, so essentially the greater plan is there's also supposed to be matanga huku down there. So we've got building material for that. It's already there. Chasara kungowaka.
Alright.
So the point of at least the fish farming, like I said, is for two reasons. Kutiti kwanse ku irrigate these fields if there is a lack of water. For example, this year you heard there's probably going to be lower than average rainfall.
Yeah.
So we'll then just get a pump and then sprinklers and then irrigate. We don't have a center pivot yet.
Okay.
But at least we'll be able to irrigate. Then the fish. Fish farming is fairly simple. If you get the steps right, you have your fish, you make sure they've got the right conditions, the right pH, then you feed them at the right times, the right quantities. You make sure that this is going to have to be covered so that there'll be no birds or other creatures attacking. And then basically they will grow by themselves as long as you feed them. So they're a low labor they're low labor production.
Okay, I understand.
Yes, so that's why
really,
I chose
really
fish farming.
I like that makafunga. I can actually do a lot, and then you chose to integrate kuti apa ichi chinofeeda ichi chikafu chichibvoko huku ichi chiuya kunoko, which is very, very nice. Mr. Emmanuel,
Yes.
I like that you're venturing into a lot of things, that you've managed to utilize the land and have done so many things with fish farming, with horticulture. But can you tell us, as a young farmer, how did you manage to be here? Like, panima challenges amakasangana nawo here, maybe be it muku acquire land or even to find the right workforce to work with.
Yes, I think that's a good question. So, first of all, remember I spoke about us having done mushroom in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
So that area, it was okay to work on, but in terms of the scale,
Okay.
Yangari, it was a small place, so we couldn't really expand the way we wanted to. In addition to that, we couldn't really do any other crop. We had to do that because at least you can use it in rooms, and it's a bit more, it's a bit less space intensive. So I think that's when I then decided that, you know, having a bigger farm is better, where you can do these multiple projects, including mushrooms.
Including mushrooms.
Which I'm still going to
Okay,
start, yes.
okay. No, that's nice. So what are some of the challenges that you faced?
Okay, so some of the challenges that I faced, in terms of land acquisition, I don't think there are many challenges in terms of that, but I know that there's lots of land that can be rented, especially from the government. You can also have leases, so I don't think it's a very big barrier. I think it's very possible for people to then acquire certain pieces of land, because even the rentals, I think they're fairly affordable. Even if you start with a hectare, you can do something.
Yeah, you can do something, that's true.
So the challenge, I think the main challenge I came up with here is Unamombe, actually, funny enough. Unamombe. We had to then fence the whole thing completely. And it's 100 hectares, so that was a bit cumbersome. And water. Water, I think, was one of the biggest problems I was facing. So what would happen is we started a small horticulture section where we had cabbages, we had broccoli and cauliflower. We had broccoli and cauliflower, but the problem now, and we were using drip, so it was a bit efficient. But we found that that side of our farm, there's an acute water shortage. So we drilled the borehole, some of them had water, and then we thought we're good. And then halfway through the season, they dried up.
Hey.
So now it became difficult for us to make another plan because we're already midway through the season. And this is when they're fruiting, so they need the most
more water.
So we then decided that it was best to invest in water, or at least water retention, which is why this reservoir is there. There's another smaller one, 100,000 one, by the horticulture field, and drilling more boreholes, especially in places where there's more water, like here. But I think that's the biggest challenge.
No, I understand. So do you operate with Murinega, or you have other people that you have partnered with?
Okay, so I have people that I have partnered with. Yes, I have family members as well that I've partnered with, parents as well, and siblings, and a few family friends. Thankfully, it has actually worked out well, and they have been actually quite supportive. So I think if, as a young farmer, it's difficult to because it's actually quite weighty. So if you can get help, technical help and financial help, I think if you're able to sell a concept properly, investors can be found.
That's true.
You can find people. If you have the numbers down, you say this many, if Ndorima madomasi angu, if I have 10,000 will produce me this much, and then you have a share system, like giving them their shares, you have your shares, and then you just convince them that you can produce it properly. I think you can find funding.
Yeah,
quite well. Yeah.
Because this is literally
very
a lot
difficult. I think even my seasoned farmers, I've been talking to them, my neighbors, and they were very specific that a lot of the projects they did was with either loans or borrowed money from even government incentives. Some of them it's command agriculture. So I think, and you see they're actually doing quite successful. So I think the notion
help is necessary.
It's necessary.
It's really necessary.
It's really necessary.
Yeah, that's true. I think even in any venture that you'd want to venture in,
True, and because even this next season, we'll go into a government wheat program, because there's a government wheat program. My neighbors that are just across the road there, they're in the government wheat program, so they're actually doing quite well for themselves.
That's nice.
And I have a few workers actually who have actually subscribed to Pumvudza.
Oh, Pumvudza.
Yes.
Okay.
So they've been actually completing the deadline to complete their Makomba.
Right.
Yes. And it's actually been treating them quite well. They actually have more than enough food, even besides what we then provide. So it's actually, I think there's some good programs out there. And next year there's actually a fish program that will also be going into a government fish program.
I think Kawanda avambonyanyi take into how the government is actually helping farmers and looking into programs. No,
I think so. I think they should actually they should actually look at it. Yeah, they should actually look at it. It's actually, they don't charge you for it. You just go there, find out the relevant information, and if you're eligible, whether it's your age or whatever size of land.
They have age?
For certain programs, there'll be
Right.
specific youth programs.
Okay.
For example, maybe they cut off at maybe age 35.
All right.
But definitely, if you just go and inquire, you don't lose anything.
Oh, that's very, very nice, and it was very informative.
Yes.
Zvamatuza. So I think mukatiratidza kune horticulture, kune zvimwe zvinhu zvese in the maize. Yeah, that would be good.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's go, Natasha.
Okay. So guys, Tashika ku horticultural sector, and I'm standing in between lovely crops here. So we are going to have Mr. Emmanuel tell us more about the crops aripana, because there are various crops arikunoko.
All right, thank you, Natasha. So the various crops that are here in the horticulture section, there are red and yellow peppers here, mostly red for this section.
Yeah.
And then down there, there's yellow peppers. So we do that so that we balance red and yellow pepper demands.
Okay, okay.
Then we have green beans growing here. They're still at an early stage of maturity. We have carrots that are next to here, butternut. There's an onion nursery as well that's growing. And the last one on this side is garlic.
Okay.
On the opposite side, we have potatoes and we have green maize.
That's nice. So can I kindly ask, why plant all these crops at the same time?
Okay. Well, firstly, I think it's quite interesting to learn about the different types of crops and how they're grown. They're not grown the same. Yeah, I've learned that. But the reason we plant these different types of crops is because we want to maintain a cash flow. So we can do that because we have different crops going out at the same time. For example, you have a quota at your market that, for example, you have a certain number of crates that they require of peppers. And once that's done, well, that's done. Yes, you can expand your market, but for that same market, fuel. Let's say, for example, it's Mbari, for argument's sake. Unokwanza kuenda kumbari in one trip, you go with your peppers, you go with your carrots, you go with your butternut, and it will satisfy each market in that one delivery. So you maintain your cash flow each week without straining yourself, finding a lot of suppliers who need pepper at the same time.
No, I like that. No, I like the fact that my mention an issue market. Emimi amuna kumbobvira manitsi kana ere to find the market, or before marima makatanga matsvaga market.
Right. So that's a good question. Pekutanga ndainetsekana nemarket, to be very frank. Ndaimbonetsekana nemarket. I would plant before I would look for the market. And then I assumed, because people say, you know what, just make sure you have a good crop, the market's always there. I assumed that they were right, and I just planted it. Then I was having problems with the market. Chaga market. Now I don't do that approach. I actually look for the market beforehand.
Okay.
So I actually even go to my existing markets and I ask them what they want me to plant. It helps me in the fact that I can go to the same suppliers, I know them, they're reliable, I can supply them. Then I'll just have to learn how to do that specific crop as well, and then add it to the roster of deliveries.
Yeah. To know before mangorima.
Exactly.
Because many people nongona season echibage munhu yese arongoenda kunorima, and now market will flood. Woti zvirimwa zvangu hazvisi kutengwa, but inyaya yekuti akaenda kunovhunza agara akatozvitengesa zvake kare.
Exactly.
So yeah, and so on the issue of varieties, Could you kindly tell me kuti ma varieties enyu kupi, and how do you determine kuti ndakutora variety and from what company?
Okay, that's a good question. So how I deal with seed varieties. I firstly look at where I'm planting it. If it's open field or greenhouse, certain varieties require certain conditions. So I first look at that. Secondly, I look at, even before the first one, I have to look at a reputable company. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
It has to be a reputable company, because as much as they are a little bit more expensive than less reputable companies, you know that your crop will emerge given all the right conditions. It will come out. So I tend to buy from companies such as Seedco, Azera, Stark Iris. I think they do quite a good job, to name a few, by the way. I mean, that's not my complete list, but I think they provide good seed that allows you to get the highest yield. For example, in these peppers, they're hybrid peppers, indeterminate varieties. So if you even see each plant, this plant has little plants that are growing, little fruits.
Yeah.
You can see, if you don't mind, can you count them from where you are? This one right here.
Which one?
That one. If you can count how many fruits you see right now.
I can't.
I'll say over 20.
I think they're over 20. 25 or 30.
Right? And that's this is not the first flush, this is not the first production, this is the fourth or fifth flush.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can see, if you choose the right seed and just give it the correct conditions, you can make a lot more than if you choose a cheaper seed. Just go save a mari. Yeah, that's what I
like that. So is that the same thing that you do kune crops, or there are certain crops that you choose kuita zvakadaro?
Okay, there are certain crops that I choose kuita zvakadaro. For example, how can I put it? The carrots specifically, right? They're all reputable. Sorry, let me get that straight. But in terms of whether they are hybrids, indeterminates, determinants, there's certain crops like carrots. Choose the basic carrot seeds like kubota. They work fine. You shouldn't over invest in them, because, for example, a carrot will give you 1 carrot.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to make sure it's a good fruit, but I don't think there's a point in over investing in that one, because it won't produce you more fruits. Plants that produce more fruits is where I would then choose maybe indeterminate varieties, so that they produce more fruits. But where it's my 1-1, it depends.
It depends now.
Yes.
I get that. So if you could show us the other crops, chienda kunomboona. My green peppers. Now I want to see the carrots, the onions, the garlic.
Okay. All right. We can go. Thank you. Yes. So Natasha, these are part of the carrots.
Okay.
This is actually the last or the smallest batch, the youngest batch.
Oh.
Yeah. So don't mind the white color. That's a result of us spraying copper.
Fertilizer.
Yeah, my fungicides, just to make sure that it's generally healthy.
You mentioned about applying my fungicides on your crop to prevent cropping isa kanganiswe with some diseases. So could you kind of like explain to me the various diseases that are likely to attack your crop?
Okay. In terms of carrots specifically, generally, there are a certain list of insects or pests that attack all the crops in general, and specific crops in general. For example, I'll give you an example like grasshoppers. Grasshoppers attack any crops that emerge from the ground, which is pretty much any crop. But in order to go into deeper detail on carrots, I have my manager and agronomist who's over there. My carrots. I think you can then he can then elaborate.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I think we can go to him,
Yes.
and then you can explain further.
Yes. So you see, as a farmer, I actually can work Mumundania. Yes. So this is our farm manager. His name is Caleb. Yes. This is Natasha.
Nice to meet you, Natasha.
Nice to meet you too. Mr. Caleb,
Yes.
Daona Tashika very busy. Could you tell me what you were doing?
I was weeding. I was removing some of the emerging weeds and the carrots so that they do not compete for nutrients. Good agronomic practices start before planting. So before planting, you want to make sure you have all your resources in place so that you do not have hiccups when you start planting.
I can see that this is really in place.
So you have to make sure you have your fertilizers, you have your chemicals, then you have you make sure that you have done adequate land preparation depending on your area. As you can see, in this area we have raised beds. It's because this area is prone to flooding a lot. The last rainy season we lost most of our crops because we didn't have raised beds. So we started having raised beds because raised beds encourage good drainage as well as good aeration, which is another advantage because it reduces the rate at which fungal diseases appear in your field because of aeration. Then when you make sure that you have all these general things in place, you then make sure you have the right variety. And if the variety you have is right for the market and right for the place or right for the area in which you're planting, and then you then plant your variety. But before that, you have to make sure you're applying the right fertilizer, the right quantity of fertilizer in your field. And to know that, you have to first have a soil test. The benefits of soil tests are that you know the right quantity to put for your crop so that you don't over apply, which is wastage and which will encourage losses, and you don't under apply, which will encourage losses as well.
I like that.
So after that, you apply the right quantity of fertilizer, then you apply lambda, most synthetic pyrethroids, so as to control those worms in the soil that may attack your plants when they're still in the seedling stage. For instance, the carrots you see now, we had the first batch, there were carrots here.
Okay.
This is the first batch we had. It was just an experiment. We planted in situ, like we planted them from seed. Then from there on, we started thinning out the population so as to get that spacing we want. For carrots, it's 2 to 5 centimeters.
Okay.
So that they can grow properly. If the spacing is too close together, your carrots won't have room to grow. So you have thin carrots. And also the fertilizer you would have applied maybe is for one carrot is now sharing with 3 carrots because of the area you have done. So after that, when you plant your seeds, you put your synthetic pyrethroids, for example, lambda, karate, and the likes, so that you control your worms so that they don't attack your plants when they emerge from the soil. Then after that, you then have your spraying program. Mostly for horticultural produce, we don't advise herbicides because most horticultural produce are susceptible, and most consumers want produce with less chemicals.
Okay.
So we don't advise herbicides for horticultural produce. So For your spraying programs, you will mainly be focusing on the pesticides and the fungicides. So for carrots, we didn't see a lot of pests that we are attacking, but we still sprayed we had a bi-weekly spray for pesticides because of the number of pests we saw. But the more pests you have, then the lesser the interval at which you spray your pesticides. But we're having bi-weekly sprays of our pesticides alternating between Lambda, Spike, and Karate. So you just have to make sure, as I said before, you have all your resources so that you don't have a hiccup. Because some of these chemicals run out of the market easily because farmers are after them. So you have to make sure you have them so that you won't find an excuse for losses when your crop is in the ground. So after you get all that, you then make your spraying program from day one up until harvest for your pesticides, alternating the pesticides. It's best to alternate between 2 to 3 pesticides or fungicides so as to avoid the pest or the disease from adapting or getting used to the chemical at which you're spraying.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb.
Yeah.
That was very informative. So guys, I hope these are my good agronomic practices that you should carry out before and during your course of farming. So, Mr. Caleb, can you do me the honors?
At what cost? Okay. You can test this one.
Before I eat your carrots.
Yeah, hygiene first. You can wash it again. Let me get the hose pipe for you.
Okay. Indakakura sezvamamchitaura nezvazvo kuti they really need like a spacing kuti asafight for my nutrients and stuff like that.
Yes.
Kandwa munotodya panapa as well.
Yes.
That's nice. So guys, this is our carrots. I hope mega muri kuzviona kuti firmness hanzi inobuda for it not to be thin and small. Inobuda kana maipa spacing yakanaka kuna macarrots. That's 2, right? 2 meters,
2 to 5 centimeters.
2 to 5 centimeters, which is good. So I'm going to test the carrot now. Ndonzwa kuti zvavanga vachitaura kuti harifani kunyimwa mvura and stuff like that ndizvo. Alright. Yeah.
Waiting for the assessment.
It's really so nice, and I can feel the crunchiness. Oh, it's nice.
Natasha, here is our butternut section. So there's basically 3 stages of these butternuts. At the back there, that's one stage where they're still growing foliage. Then the second stage they're flowering, and then this stage they're fruiting. So we make sure also even within our crops that we plant at the same time and interchange, we still have different growing periods so that we have consistency. So when these ones finish, those ones are fruiting, and the other ones finish, and so on. So these ones are already fruiting. I'm not sure if you can see the fruits already. Yeah, no, apinda. Yes. It's okay. So it's yours.
Guys, as you can see, my butternut maturity stage.
Yes, they're not yet there. You can see. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
All right.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, generally, I think this is a healthy crop. as Caleb was alluding to earlier, we just put small raised beds so that it doesn't flood too much, because fruit is ground, and when it rains we needed to have some drainage so that it's not too wet.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. The owner along coming from Mhondoro and the owner ma Safari Lodge.
Yes.
So you guys do know our supplier or something?
Not yet, but we will get there.
You get there.
We will get there.
And also I'd like to factor the issue of flowering. Crop ready, some sort of pollination for it to reach pama stage it is kunyatsa kubuda. So mune mabhizi repadhuze or something else happens with the fruiting.
Okay, so generally what I've heard is some people actually then pollinate it manually. Nema toothbrushes, very gently. Yes, toothbrush. They just gently rub it, then it releases pollen, especially in dry conditions, not wet. Then it releases its pollen. But lucky for us, we have tanks right behind you there. So when they overflow, a little puddle is created. Bees tend to like that puddle, so they come and accumulate there, and then they come kumunda. So they then cross-pollinate for us. Exactly.
At free cost.
Exactly.
This is nice, guys.
So when you're really working well with nature, nature will work well with you.
Yeah. I hope my kids are guys. That sometimes though, because you have pressure, I can't wonder, but think outside the box. Go set my tanks in you, and then you just let nature control itself.
Indeed.
This is very, very impressive.
Thank you. We've finally reached the greenhouse section. So we have recently constructed 2 greenhouses. This one was done, I think it finished about 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
This one actually was finished last week. Like literally last week. So it was done by Total Farm Solutions.
That's so nice. It's actually properly articulated. It's nice. So can you tell me, why did you choose the Total Farm Solutions? Name is now mega, because considering mega, it was going to be quite cheap. You have all the resources. But why did you choose Total Farm Solutions?
Okay. So why we decided to use Total Farm Solutions is because I'm a firm believer that working with accredited companies that have a good track record, it's a good thing. And supporting your good startups that are that have some level of reliability, I think it's a good thing. Because we actually tried to put 2 greenhouses esimbi. We'll go back there in a moment, but they actually collapsed. As when we put the plastic and everything, and I remember it was the last storm that was there, Freddy. There was lots of wind, lots of rain. So what happened is we thought the structure was enough, but then the beams that were supporting it caved in, and then the rain finished the job, and then it just collapsed.
That's bad.
So I think doing it with the reputable people became cheaper. More expensive now, but cheaper in the long run.
I understand.
So that's why I chose Total Farm Solutions, and I think they've done a good job so far.
No, that's nice. I understand with having greenhouse. How can I say this? My good practices that you have to carry out before and after. There are certain things that you need to carry out to diseases greenhouse. So I want to understand makamboita here time to sit with your workforce and be like, you know what guys, the construct a greenhouse and this is what is expected from having a greenhouse, or vanga vagara vachitoiziziva knowledge yese?
Well, that's a good question. Whether vanogara vachizviziva or they don't, it's always important to just specify certain procedures or standard operating procedures. The reason for that is because you assume that some people know, and yet they actually don't know, and you don't have a base to then hold people accountable if you don't, if you're not clear with them from the beginning.
That's true.
So I was very clear with them, but in terms of the greenhouse, it's important to specify that there's only 2 people maximum. Well, excluding myself.
Okay.
2 people maximum that are allowed to actually go into the greenhouse, except for during the time of land preparation, like which is actually happening in that greenhouse.
Okay.
The reason for that is because we need to have tight control over who goes in and out, and make sure they don't cross-expose from crops that are in the field to here. So it's important to have strict biological controls.
I understand.
Yes, I'm sure you can see the first one here, your first barrier.
Yeah. The field and everything.
So like now I'm gonna cheat. When I do go in with you, I'm actually gonna cheat. Usually you're not supposed to, but I'm gonna cheat. But this is the first control. It's a foot bath, so you need to put your viral kill that will kill any viruses or bacteria you step on, whether in the field, so you don't go with it in there.
I understand. I think we should get into the greenhouse
at least
and have a look.
At least I koskupisa.
At least. I can see it's pakatokiwa.
Yes, that's one of the controls. So I'm sure Caleb will unlock for us, if he doesn't mind.
Because in greenhouses, it tends to be hot.
Yes.
So the first step.
Yes. Straight in. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So even myself, yeah. It's tricky, but have to. Tapinda manch. So this is the greenhouse. So these are yellow and red pepper crops. So I'm sure you can see they're very uniform, they're nice, they're growing nicely. And kurukupisa muno
murukupisa. So which one are the yellow and which one are the green?
Okay, so what we've done is we've staggered. So it's 2 yellow, 2 red, 2 yellow. So we're going to expand to the other side as well. Did you continue?
No, that's so nice. But ndambona in green pepper iri panze. Why did you choose this green pepper in more greenhouse and yet kune ime panze?
That's a good question. So the reason we put it here, or construct a greenhouse vataisa munum, is because outside that batch of pepper, we were actually experiencing problems during the winter period, which we just came out of. So we had frost problems, so it stunted the growth of some of them and delayed the fruits. And then, you know, there's general problems like pests and diseases. You know, they're more expensive to maintain outside of the greenhouse because unofana auto sprayers like a simba. You know, it's a farm, but still it's a new farm, so there's still a lot of forest. It's like my bags are akawanda. It's more controlled. You can control your weather. You can water it how and when you want. It retains water well.
And you're certain as long as people are doing what's good.
Exactly.
No, that's nice. I really like it. No, this is nice.
Oh, thank you.
And the maka say?
So this greenhouse is 50 by 10.
50 by 10.
Yes, 50 by 10.
Makakura zvokuti actually munogona kuzombo intercropa manguti kudaita mapeppers
Exactly.
takudaita zvimwe zvinhu
Yes, that's correct.
tomatoes etc. That's so nice.
Actually, in the other greenhouse, funny you should say that, our plan is to then put cucumbers on one side and then tomatoes on the other side.
That's nice.
So as you're saying, intercropping is good.
Yeah,
And you can see another reason I like what Total Farm Solutions was doing, at least, is that you can see they at least taught us how to maximize our space. So these two rows there and at the end, they're not supposed to have anything, but for certain crops we can put them in between here Panama pillars.
Whoa.
So they're growing quite nicely, as you can see. So you maximize your space in the greenhouse.
Which is very nice.
Thank you.
And I can see with Muita drip irrigation,
Yes.
which saves a lot of water. Though it's quite expensive, but zvakanaka.
Yes, in the long run, especially in an environment like the greenhouse, it'll save you money. Because could damage because it's a controlled environment. So it'll save you money over things like sprinklers and hose pipes, and I think so. Plus, in the drip system, you can then you can have a fertigation program.
Yeah.
So whether it's your fungicides, your pesticides, you can then apply them through your fertigation tank and then straight into the soil and then onto the plant. And it saves you time, it saves you labor. You can have less people working here.
Yeah.
We can have one, like I said, one or two, and you'll be fine.
And then from the beginning, maka isa like machinery akawanda zvokuti workforce yenyu haina need yekuti iwandewo because matogara hapana basa rakazonyanyisa rinoda kuitwa, but maybe during the harvesting and the post harvesting part.
Yeah, so there's certain periods that I think it's very difficult to replace labor. Certain periods, like when you're planting in terms of horticulture, when you're weeding a big space, not a small space is better. When you're harvesting, as you said as well, it's a little more difficult to use machinery for that. Yeah. Even though there are specific machineries for that, they'll tend to be a little expensive, although it definitely works. So I need less labor because there's a lot of machinery, right? Yeah. But I still do need, a few people to sort out some of these nitty-gritties. Like in the greenhouse, same as what Caleb was saying, we do not spray any herbicides. We just weed. So it's just weeding straight. So you need people. As far as I know at the moment, I don't know a machine that can nicely come and weed this yet. If anyone has one, please do let us know. Yeah. But yes, for now, as far as I know, in Zimbabwe at least.
I understand Kuti, the value of a green pepper grower in a greenhouse grower more open field. So when you go and market, are you going to charge a higher price for that which has been grown in greenhouse, or on the same value?
Well, I think that's dependent on the time at which you sell. If the specific product you're selling from the greenhouse, it doesn't matter whether it's open or in the greenhouse, you'll tend to sell it for the same price. Okay. But in a normal market, I don't mean when there's a shortage, in a normal market, you can actually sell these crops for more, because you'll have markets that actually specifically request greenhouse tomatoes or greenhouse peppers. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was actually selling some of these to the Mhondoro market, or at least the open ones, some of them. And they told me very specifically, okay, so I'm just giving an example of the figures, right? Not that specifically, but they'll say, okay, we'll buy this from you at $1.30 per kg. But if it was a greenhouse one, we would buy it for $1.50 or $1.60 per kg.
Okay.
Yeah, because they believe there's certain benefits from greenhouse peppers and tomatoes specifically. Yeah.
So, could you tell me your 5 key principles that make a farm successful?
Okay, 5 key principles. All right. The first, I would say, have water.
Water.
Have water before you even think about business management, labor, whatever. Have water.
Water.
It's essential. It's key. If you don't have it,
Yeah.
nothing will happen. Yeah, nothing will happen. Whether you're doing crops, livestock production, it doesn't matter. Water is key. It's life. Nothing will succeed without
That's
it.
true. That's very true.
Number 2, I would say, is have a good labor force or / good equipment. I think the two are no pindrana because the equipment still generally needs someone to operate. So you need a good labor force. If you have a good labor force, then at least they're able to, help you within the crop. Crops are like children, honestly, and you can't raise a child by yourself. It takes a village to raise one successfully. You can raise one, but you can't raise one successfully.
That's true.
If everyone doesn't pitch in a good way. Number 3, I would like to talk, it's affiliated to number 2, but it's your gaps, your good agronomic practices.
Yeah.
You need to be on top of them, otherwise your crop will fail. You really need to make sure your spraying programs, your fertilization programs, your timing, all of those things, you want to make sure that they're on point, or at least the closest point to on point.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, it's okay. You fall down, you learn from it, then you start again. Number 4, you need to have good business management.
Yeah.
So generally, you need to have good control over your numbers, over your planning. You need to see what you can invest in structures and how long it will take you to recover your money or specifically generate income from that, so that you plan how and when to put the crops. For example, what I was talking about down there, you need to have your consistent cash flow so that you can invest in other structures like the greenhouse and then put your crops here, make money, and then we continue to expand. And I think that will definitely be a key to success.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 5, and I think a lot of farmers can agree with me on that one, and that's marketing.
Yeah.
You need very good marketing as a farmer. Whether you're using WhatsApp or you're using conventional methods, it doesn't really matter. You're talking to shops, it doesn't matter. You need to advertise your products and you need to advertise them before Abuda.
Yeah, that's true.
So that you have an insured market, so that you don't lose a lot of your crops. I'm speaking from experience. So that you don't lose a lot of your crops, it's very important. And I see that as a problem. It will plague a lot of our farmers. Marketing, or at least getting the market at the right time at the right price.
Guys, I hope machines will make. And also, I would love to ask Kuti, do you have any words of encouragement, any wisdom that you can share to the other youth out there, Kuti, why it was something productive?
I think so. I think Zimbabwe is not a very easy place, but I think it's becoming a very productive place. I think there's lots of opportunities if you look in the right places, and definitely in the soil. the soil is one of the right places. I can tell you that. So, not saying that everyone will, but if you have aspirations,
Yeah.
yekumbowana ma GD6 ari kudriver asiri kunzwisisika kuti zviri kufamba sei, or you just want a better lifestyle for yourself, or you just want to, you know, enrich your life. I think the soil is definitely a good a good factor, or a good medium with which to make your living. Starting is not easy, but I think the first important thing, start.
Yeah.
Start from there. You'll learn what's wrong. It's not easy. You'll lose money, but you'll eventually learn, and you will then eventually make your money. I think maybe paruda kubatsirwa, especially for young people, is, I feel like technical know-how and funding is a problem.
Yeah.
So I think if we have more platforms like yours, which actually inform people about, you know, the intricacies of plants and how they're grown and what it takes to grow to levels like this or higher, I think it's much better for people to learn that way.
Yeah.
I also think it would be great if maybe the government would also be, let's say, more active in showing the youth. The programs are there. The government programs are there, but it would be great if there was more advertising or marketing to the youth, because pane vanhu vasingazivi.
Chukwadi.
Pane vanhu vasingazivi kuti these programs exist, and they're wondering kuti how do we even start. Inini handina kana chinhu. So where do I even start from? It looks improbable paari kuti ndisvike ipapo, but it's possible. You just need to go to the right doors, and if we can have help, you know, marketing better to youth, I think that would be great.
So guys, we have come to the end of our show. Tafara Shukuru that Mr. Emmanuel, he took us through from the beginning up to the end, although he was facing some challenges, but we just want to thank him so much. We thank you, Mr. Emmanuel.
You're very welcome, Natasha. I'm very happy to have you here, and I'd like to thank as well Ashley behind the camera. I'd like to thank you very much. You guys were amazing.
Thank you so much. So it's Farming 263 would want to wish you a quick recovery. So if you don't mind for us to sign our special leg.
Yeah, signature. Signature.
Maybe Farming 263. Okay, I think that is very, very visible.
Yes, I think that's good. I see advertising. Hey, marketing.
Farming 263. Farming 263 day.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our Twitter page, Facebook, Instagram, even our WhatsApp page. We have a WhatsApp page actually. So yes, thank you.